boys. Mike Herring. Hey, Mike! Mike, hey, can you tell me where in the Constitution it says that taxes are lawful? Hey, I'm gonna have to give you an order, and you're gonna have to start upholding the Constitution, and we're gonna place you under arrest, because you're involved in a lot of crimes.
Here come the feds.
For the city of Richmond.
What was his name?
Mike Herring.
Mike Herring.
Rumor is he's a crackhead.
Well, one of the officials from DHS is here. Yep. No, ma'am.
Are you bothering us?
Actually, I'm just concerned. I heard some yelling. To make sure nobody's harassing you.
No. Look, that's fine. You don't need to do
Yeah,
that.
everything's fine, ma'am. Happened last night for everybody,
Okay.
so that I can get it on film again.
Walked into the city council meeting. They had petitioned off part of the first 3 rows on both sides. I mean, as you know, being a journalist who covers the city council, that's the area where citizens sit, where this council
Right.
and the TV camera can't avoid seeing them. That's where people can exercise their First Amendment rights. And those are areas were blocked off because the fraudulent budget. Last night was the time where the fraudulent budget was going to be
Announced or whatever.
the public hearing for the fraudulent
Right,
budget.
okay.
And so, as you know, the meeting went into chaos, but specifically what happened was, I filmed the fact that they were partitioning off for no reason, except for to prohibit people from exercising their constitutional guarantee and right. So I went back to the media area, because I couldn't get a good film of anything from where I normally sat. So I sat in the media section because I filmed city council and comment and blog, etc. about city council. So I noticed that police and city government officials were gathering around and getting ready to make some sort of move against me. So I started filming them. And then a man named Steve Skinner came up, and he's a government official from the city of Richmond, and began to question why I was there. I told him multiple times what I said before. I filmed city council. I'm a blogger. I have I'm with Press TV America. I'm a journalist on international television. And then I grabbed another person who was filming back there, who was back in that section every week, and that's Silver Persinger, who came in and stopped me and said, Chris is a journalist, and this is what's going on here. And at that point, he wouldn't take no for an answer, and he became more belligerent and became closer and closer into my space. How you doing, man? So then I asked for him to please back up, that I felt threatened by him, and I felt that he was attempting to intimidate me. Then I filmed his hands on the chair that I was sitting on, showing that he was very close to grabbing me or something like that, and I asked him again to back up. At that point, he stated, "You just filmed your gun. Are you threatening me with your gun?" But if you look in his eyes, you can tell that's like when his lie is like really obvious, and that he had that plan the whole time. There are other gives in the video as well. And a council member named Parker Agalesto told Silver Persinger that this was pre-planned, quote, because Charles Samuels doesn't like Chris. Charles Samuels is the council president. And it wasn't just him, of course, because all of this is because we're out here today. We talk about the Federal Reserve Bank being unlawful and unconstitutional, and carrying out the 9/11 attacks, and the government having no jurisdiction and no right, and it basically just being a foreign-run criminal syndicate. And we have proof, obviously. So, but getting back to this incident, at that point, hey James, at that point, Skinner goes and makes a false report to somebody named Bobby Stitt, who is the head of security. I've had previous experience with Bobby Stitt making a false statement to Richmond police, but that, you know, he backed down from that point. But this time he didn't, and he ordered police to have me removed. At that point, I was assaulted. Before that, I told them I had video evidence disproving the false accusation that was made against me. The whole time I told them that I had video proof that there was a false accusation, and that you know, I had video evidence to prove that. And then I was dragged out of council chambers. People in the audience, citizens and Richmonders, free people using free will and their First Amendment rights, started shouting and documenting the fact that I was being assaulted by a police officer. I started saying I was being kidnapped because I was being kidnapped against my will, and I was taken out in the hall. That's when other people started filming, and they took away my camera. They took my camera away right as they put me in cuffs. Another person, they followed my orders to give the camera to another person. Her name is Erin Dell. I believe an attorney named J. Michael Arthur was filming too, but I know he witnessed all of that, as did Erin Dell, who filmed some of it. And there's a picture on Style Weekly.
She's the one on Style Weekly?
Right.
Okay.
She's the one filming
Filming, right, okay.
But at the time, it looks like she's filming. This camera's not actually even on now.
Right.
Because she didn't know how to operate.
Still, she was the one that had...
I gave her instructions how to operate the camera while I was being assaulted. So, and also, very importantly, my property was ripped off me as I was being kidnapped, and this, because it's a safe and proper use of my right, this is tight on my belt. And they were unsuccessfully ripping the gun out of my belt. You know, luckily, it did not, you know, and the gun was flapping, shoot me in the chest, rib cage, or the gut, and it didn't shoot and ricochet off of those, you know, metal and cinder block inside that building, or the hardwood floor, or the marble floor, or the hard floor. So, you know, at that point, they dragged me outside. I told them that they were violating my rights, of course, the whole time. I started continually giving them orders to you know, not to, you know,
That's fine. That's fine.
So basically, they ripped the gun out. As soon as they ripped the gun out in a dangerous manner, you know, I had started demanding my property back. They took my camera. The camera was given to Erin Delp. A lawyer watched them film this whole thing. The video speaks for itself. I gave them lawful orders. They refused. They sexually assaulted me on top of assaulting me, because obviously by grabbing me, by 4 people grabbing me all over my body after I was sitting down on the ground, showing that I was not doing anything. How long did they keep your camera? No longer, about 10 minutes. They kept my gun for much longer. And I was telling them, we definitely, you know, you're definitely violating the law. I need your superior officer. Nobody gave me the name. Nobody gave me a name. They said I was under arrest and going to jail. Then I said I wasn't under arrest. Then they said I was being detained. Obviously, that was it. That was the only thing that they said. The superior officer, the commanding officer, I did ask for the commanding officer, and the commanding officer, he didn't really state whether he was or was not the commanding officer. I mean, it's all, they're dumb. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Shit, obviously.
And except where they can do whatever they want, and there seems to be no consequence for their actions. Except for this time. There are going to be a lot of consequences.
Well, there's consequences because there's video.
Right.
So.
Well, there's consequences, more consequences.
And what we're going to do afterwards.
Right. I mean, you know, I'm sure bad things will happen in their lives because of their karma, but this is going to be instant karma. This is instant karma.
So you're going to pursue a lawsuit and everything?
I mean, I would say the number of institutions and people I'm going to file charges against are all of them. All of them. IRS, Federal Reserve Bank, Richmond City Council, the individual officers, their commanding officers, the chief of police, every magistrate, not every public official, because they're not really magistrates, every paid government agent, and every agency that operates or has anything to do in the past, present, or future with me is going to be sued. A claim will be made against them, lawful claims with punishment and penalties paid in real assets, land, gold, or silver, or cannabis.
Right. Now, you were on the list to speak last night, right?
That is correct.
Because some people said that he wasn't on the list and he was interrupting. And
but that's just a lie.
I understand that.
There's a lot of lies.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
And you have a permit to carry your weapon, correct? You do have other than the obvious, you have a registered with the official government concealed carry permit, correct?
No, I don't have a concealed carry permit. So
well, I understand that, but
yeah.
People that are out of state don't. People go, well, why is he carrying if it's like? So I'm trying to get to people that don't understand.
Any law that prohibits in any way, make sure you put that on camera, because we're out here and they can't even stop us from being on down public with a big giant truck full of money. We can do what the fuck we want, because I don't even agree that that's actually real money. So that's why when I sue them, I'm not going to get paid in their counterfeit money, those fake Federal Reserve notes. It's going to be land, which I have claims to already. The money that I already have, it's already my money through my work, and it's going to be a very significant amount. It might be one of the largest lawsuits of all time. And I'm looking for people to join me in the class action suit. Additional parties to the Constitution. People who have a claim. People who can carry their claims back, not just hundreds of years, but thousands of years. And I got the proof of that. There's nobody in that building right there that has any authority over me, or that building that has any authority over anybody out here. We're all free sovereign people. We're the true Americans. Everybody else, they're just fake. They're just posing. But we actually go out and enforce the Constitution, because nobody else is going to do it. When we first got into this thing, and I'll speak for myself, I wanted somebody else to do it. I said, yeah, this is bullshit. Tell me what to do. And then I realized I could only do this for myself, and everybody else telling us what to do was just some sort of controlled opposition speed. So, you see, who the real folks are out here, and who's not. Everybody said, oh, we're not coming out because of the rain.
Wars are not only fought on good sunny days, my friend.
Yeah, and we're at war, and we're at war with people who have violated Article 3, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution. And that's those engaging in war against the American people. That's Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution. Nobody can doubt or refute this. Everybody's so worried about Homeland Security and people kicking down doors. Where are those punk-ass bitches now? They won't even show their face because there's cameras out here. And they see we're armed too. And then we're not going to back down. And we have standing under the law. And they don't. And we have standing over the law. Because we created the law. Because man creates government. So it's just that simple. It's that simple. I don't know, but it's
I don't know, because the one that came up earlier was DHS. So
DHS.
yeah.
I was
militarized infantry.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, that's, to me, Chris, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Isn't that boarding very close to
Posse Comitatus, of course. That's Posse Comitatus right there. And Channel 6 was there to see it, and Glenn is here to see it, and Jimmy's here to see it. Like, yeah, of course. But you know what? I think they're a joke, because they said the I just did it.
Can I ask you a question for a minute, please? Are you fatigued? Can I ask you a question? Why not?
Because he's in uniform.
That's Explain that to me. I don't understand.
You can't walk in public in uniform?
You're not involved. You're just standing there. Are you a member of the armed forces? And what's your post here? Ever heard of Posse Comitatus?
Posse Comitatus!
Coward.
Hey. So, yeah, so 6 again. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I just laid out the whole Federal Reserve and
Huh? Hey, actually, this is
They sure did it.
works for us.
Yeah, we pay their salary.
absolutely.
Not while in uniform.
I think people that are like,
Because he could actually be in prison.
hey, how's it going?
These people just have so much strength and authority and all that as soon as the camera and a question comes out, they scurry like
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's because video is a lot more powerful than weapons at this point.
oh, it is.
And information is definitely a better weapon.
Right,
Exactly, an unlawful order. It is not a lawful order to order a member of the armed services to support or defend an unconstitutional agency. So he is, in my opinion, violating his oath.
And what's with that
following a
weird
legal order.
uniforms? They look like fucking stormtrooper uniforms, like the officers of the stormtroopers. Like they're like that dark green. And the guy just walking by was I mean, I bet y'all have seen that uniform. That's not the first time.
They say we get one.
I think I've seen that uniform twice already today.
Well, you need a uniform for a bad B movie. I mean, come on,
Well, again, according to the state police with whom I recorded phone conversation, he explained to me that even as a law enforcement officer, if he is not in uniform, he cannot enter a courthouse with a weapon. So I asked him, I said, so the uniform is what grants you the exception, the privilege to walk into a public space with a weapon? And he said, yes. So again, the uniform is the power.
So Superman without his costume is just Clark Kent.
Correct.
Yeah.
We don't want that funny money. We don't want that fake money.
I ain't gonna rip you off. Shit, you already ripped us off.
What's that?
There's money for it.
The lobby is
You gotta pay taxes to work.
I think that my opinion about them is I feel as though that if they can have what you do to take your money and say, well, you know what, we think we should get this and we take your benefits away, and then they start sending you paperwork that says we're going to tax and levy, and you're going to call every 90 days, you're going to put it on hold. What's the difference? Nothing. And that's why I'm here, because it took a whole year just for a tax advocate to help me out with my information, just to get a person appointed to me in a field office, which isn't here, which is the capital, which is all the way in Norfolk, Virginia,
Yep.
just to bring my paperwork down to them to show them proof of everything that I was doing.
You were
That, to show them that, I had to prove to them that my kids are my children and that they've been living with me since day one. They've been on my taxes ever since I've done taxes since they were born. How would you not know that? You're the IRS, you know everything. You see my taxes since the day that they first came out of my womb when I did my taxes.
That's your property, though. Your children are your property.
They
They're
are.
not any business of the IRS.
But
That's
at
your
the same
property.
time, I just feel as though it's just like, okay, well, you know what? You try to charge me with penalties and fees. What's your penalty for being wrong? You still have a job. You got to do your taxes at the end of the year. But at the same time, my kids had to suffer at the cost of it. You know what I mean? And that's not right.
And why do you just not pay them? Why would you choose to acquiesce to their demands?
We have no choice.
What do you think would happen if you said, no, You're
If
a
I
fraud.
say no, you're not wrong, they would have came and took my car.
So you're saying,
How's it feel to be free?
Huh?
How's it feel to be free?
Oh no, they don't. That's not free.
thank
It
you.
isn't. But you know, I just feel. I do feel though that somebody. I mean, like, who do you get appointed to file a complaint and say that, listen, these people was wrong, and I said, you know, how can I sue them and tell them that for mental anguish and, you know what I'm saying, and going through hardship. I filed a hardship. Well, it took a whole year to use. I could have been out of a home at this point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I got kids. You know what I'm saying? And they're dependent on just basically solely upon me, not their fathers. And I'm a single parent mother. You know, I moved out here. I'm in the state of Virginia. You know what I mean? I've been here for almost 4 years now. And for this to happen, I'm like, you know, what was I supposed to do? You know what I mean? I'm in and out of the hospital. I'm overly stressed. I have chest problems because of it. Because, you know, I'm paying, you know, I got to take from Paul to pay Peter, not take from Peter to pay Paul to make sure that everything stays on track because of it. And it's not fair. And it hasn't been fair to my kids this whole year. Because now, if I'm a stressed out mother, guess what? Now I got stressed out children too.
Absolutely.
And it's not right. And I do believe that somebody should have some say-so in it, and somebody should do something about that.
Well, we're here.
That's not fair.
We did a class action lawsuit. And
They don't have one, and I said, you know, what would I be able to do to, you know, tell them, you know,
I'll watch him. I'll watch him.
whoever mandate or whatever is going on, who gets appointed to say, you know what, this you was wrong, so this should be done to you. It's not saying that something should be done to them personally, but just like in any other job.
Those
You know what,
individuals need to be
you know,
sued.
listen, you get a slap on the wrist, and now we need to, you know, you get, you know, promoted or demoted to whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can't do this to other people. You can't. They just, you know, they're up there.
They don't listen. They're on their ivory tower.
Yeah, look, I'm over here filing for an extension because they still ain't done with my paperwork.
But
I
you know
didn't
that
file my taxes last year because I couldn't. I wasn't allowed because I couldn't get earned income credit for my children. So it took a whole year for that. So now they finally finished the paperwork, but it's out of the field office, but it's back somewhere through there. And now I'm waiting. So I got to file for an extension, which allows me up until October. Who knows when it'll...
Well, good luck.
those taxes are voluntary.
Ask them about that.
Yeah, taxes are voluntary.
They're voluntary.
You can volunteer to not pay them.
Required to pay.
You're not required to pay.
Keep asking.
But they do lie sometimes.
Well, of course they
No
do.
lying.
Always.
The fact that they're even here is a lie.
Right. Well, that's what we were saying. That's what we were saying.
That's all government is a bunch of lies. So,
That's all it is.
yeah.
That's right. And it happens all the time. Yeah.
I mean, just like when we went to the mechanic school tea party, and as soon as Chris asked about what happened with settlements, they literally assaulted us and pushed us out the door.
And the Tea Party started saying, why are you guys carrying guns on public property? Because that's what the law says.
We're allowed.
That's the epic face
Yeah.
palm.
And that's the Tea Party. That's those hypocrite Tea Party people saying. They're a joke. Yeah. How you doing, sir? All right. Oh yeah, definitely. Are you for the IRS? You like the IRS?
It's not a matter of my liking, but I do know that we do the agencies in the country to take care of the taxes that we pay. And my only thing is I know it can't be, every state or every city has its own rules and they have to have something that, now do I like it? No. When I receive my checks and I have to pay my taxes, no, I don't like it. But it is just a part of the responsibilities that we have, and as citizens, you know, we pay for them, and...
Right, but they're supposed to work for us, and it's unconstitutional. It's unlawful to tax somebody on their labor. Like, basically, you have to pay money in order to work.
The Constitution.
Yeah, so you can't.
An unapportioned tax on labor.
Yeah.
Well, now, I don't know exactly what that is.
Well, I mean, let me ask you, if you have the choice about paying the taxes to this agency, would you or not? Given the choice.
I would, because it's like I'm saying, I think that we need to have some kind of agency where we all take our money someplace and give it, and I work for the government, and it paid my salary.
Sure, but I don't, and it doesn't pay my salary. It only takes from my labor. Except for I don't pay any taxes because I know what the law states, and I don't have to. I know it's voluntary.
Okay, well, I don't know that.
Well, you work for the government, and the government operates under the guidelines of the Constitution. Right. So where in the Constitution does it say that the IRS can exist?
That's so wrong.
Where?
It doesn't have to say that in the Constitution. Congress
Where's the law?
The Constitution is the law.
Constitution
Anything
is the
that is
law.
repugnant to the Constitution, whether someone passes it as a law or not, is null and void.
But then it actually isn't a law. It's actually a statute
Right.
or a piece of legislation. But the law is the
But it
Constitution.
was approved by that body.
Well,
So is the Federal Reserve Bank.
Right,
But
the
that's just a
NDAA,
foreign
the
controlled
Patriot Act,
private
all
bank.
those were approved, and they're all unconstitutional.
Same with like
Well, what would you have? What
Follow
would you
the
have?
rules, follow
Okay,
the
maybe
law.
you don't need to pay, but I feel that I need to pay. What I do?
Let me answer your question with a question. Where do you think the money that goes to the IRS, where do you think that money goes?
It goes. It's the government agency.
And who is the government?
Your Congress.
And who do they work for?
They work for us.
It doesn't seem like it anymore.
Well,
They don't work
you
for
know,
us. They work for the Federal Reserve Bank.
Now you're getting me out. They work for them.
Work for themselves.
If you're talking about them, that is.
Deep in my house. Absolutely right.
Yeah, they're bloodsuckers. That tax is voluntary. You don't have to pay it.
Well, I
It's unlawful.
appreciate the fact
Tell them it's unconstitutional and you don't want to pay it.
It's not bad.
I do.
Of
course. Did you hear that woman who was saying like her kids are like they're trying to like make her prove that her children are hers and that
Well, like people think about it is
he works for the government.
and
Well, that's what they tell everybody.
Yeah.
And it just gets repeated and repeated and repeated, and people think that it's the guideline is now the law, and it's totally not right.
constitutional and is above.
Yeah, basic. If you talk about it as basic levels, you have to pay taxes
Just
to
like
work.
the banker bailout.
You have to
right?
pay taxes on your.
If you go and have to use the court for something, right? You have to pay per instance, right?
Yes.
Right.
So you pay a fee.
Right. You pay a fee or a court cost, whatever. But you also pay IRS taxes and state taxes. They're all a portion. They just come straight out of your check before you can have any kind of and you're going to take it from your check, and you have to use it. So you're getting taxed twice. And that reason is because the IRS money they get doesn't go to us. It goes overseas. It goes to Switzerland. Yeah, they go.
I have to pay the
Right, and your taxes pay for the road. And you have to pay the park too.
That's right. And if I exceed the time,
And they won't get their taxes.
so we just have to have some. We have to have something. They know it. They know it. Some kind of government that.
And yeah, it's like that's we can't change.
Function of government. Government functions of the Constitution.
I know we don't want to talk about the government because it's crap.
That means this is the supreme law. There are 12 enumerated powers in here. That is the only thing our government is supposed to spend our money on. Anything outside of that, it's like the people always say, well, who will build the roads if we don't have all this government? Well, who builds the roads now? The guys with the trucks and the know-how to build the roads. The government's just a middleman. They just take a cut. They provide no actual benefit. They don't do anything.
But that is what requires that those that do that.
Absolutely not. If there was, 100 people here and if this pothole is an issue, we don't need to go get some third party. All we need is, hey, where can we get some asphalt? People can get these things ourselves.
I hear what you're saying.
The government didn't build that. Before, think about the late 1800s, early 1900s, before 1930, before there was a central bank or an IRS. We still had it.
Yes. But
what did they add to the...
And also on that, prior to 1950, who paid income tax? Nobody. I was born in the industrial age. I was born in the industrial age. My child was the first one that was born in the beginning of the information age, which we live in now. And it is a very different world. It is a different world. It is so bad. I was listening to the news. They have a gun. They're talking about how anti-aircraft carriers won't be in use anymore. And they have this gun. It fires a bullet that if it hit there, it would just, tear up the whole thing. And it would, oh yes it is. It will go from New York to Philadelphia.
It works off of magnetics and firing aluminum rounds.
Look. I hear what you're saying. We did.
Right.
Well, you know.
And it's used against us.
But you have paid, when we go eat. The tax for eating is...
Especially in the city, it's even more.
But it's everywhere. But anyway, like I said, I think it's all right what you guys are doing. And like I said, I'm here and I have not felt any intimidation or anything. And believe me, I'm not only here, but I listen. Because I have a lot of ideas about things, right or wrong, that all. But
You say we're not after the intimidate, we're after just get a point across.
That's what I'm saying.
Educate the public.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah, not too much stuff gets swept out of the front.
And I think
we're paying for it.
Okay, and I think that is good. Like I said, I don't have an issue with that. I wouldn't say anything negative about this or you all or anything. And it's a right. So, and I am for what is right. That's what I believe. And like I said, so I think that this is nothing negative or anything. And if it is a form of education, and we have to live in the world in order to progress.
If you don't have
Well,
education, you don't progress.
and if you don't have education, that's right. And so,
Well, we thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it.
yes, sir.
You have a good day, sir.
Listen. Every day, all day, and night. Because I don't need the all of the world. All is well. So we have to believe that to be able to know without
You have a good day, sir.
Take care, sir.
Have a good day. Y'all want to Jimmy?
Y'all want to march down the street, go to the side, or y'all just want to stick here for a little while? Well, I mean, it's up to y'all. I was just thinking it's starting to drizzle a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I got about 18 more minutes I can stay. I got to go pick up my wife.
December 23rd, we stood in the rain
Yeah.
and marched, so
Okay, so
doesn't matter to me.
maybe we can make like some public statements in front of the IRS building. There's a megaphone, right? It's got a megaphone, and we can just maybe take a picture if people think that that's like a cool thing.
Yeah, definitely get definitely want pictures.
And if anybody wants to say anything like official or unofficial, like whatever. I mean, I was thinking maybe that's a good way to move forward and close the event. But I'm just making suggestions.
So many people said they'll be here.
It's always this way.
And so many people show up.
I mean,
People need to stand up and take a stand.
I mean, and again, look. I think that made
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Because like with the Secret Service, some people thought when the Secret Service came by, they're like, oh man, you could probably win now. You can win the election. And I'm like, no. That was to make nobody contribute any money because they knew the Secret Service was going to watch it.
That was intimidation by force is what it is.
That is the definition of government.
It may be feel more empowered.
Also tyranny and terrorism.
And terrorism, exactly right.
You know what? You and some of the
I think that's the first step that any individual has to make in order to change the direction of our future and enjoy the future is to stop being afraid. Fear is not real. Fear is an emotional response to perceived danger.
And they actually documented how
to be afraid or not to be afraid. And those of us who are not afraid are the ones that show up every day and won't be silent and won't kowtow and won't let them get away with it. You know, I myself served the Marine Corps for 5 years, did not know any of this stuff. They never, mentioned it. They've been co-opted as well, as General Smedley Butler says, the reason war is a racket. He explains exactly how it works. I won't stand for it anymore, and I won't be afraid and intimidated by it anymore. Live free or die. This is Richmond, Virginia, not too far, 2 blocks away. Patrick Henry gave his "Give me liberty or give me death."
But that's the way they operate. Because they'll never come out and face you up front. Again, you had a couple people being like passive aggressive and DHS like jump out in some costumes. And like, where are you? We're standing out here with guns.
Thank you for your service as well.
Thank you. You're in the Marine?
I got out in 02.
I don't see no line. Unless they mean this one.
I mean...
Which one did they mean? I mean, I see a bunch of them, but... The granite wall, I was not here for that.
Man creates government. That's it. There's no other thing. God creates man, and man creates government.
Government kills man. It sounds like fucking Frankenstein, doesn't it?
You know what? It's a...
Man creates monster. Monster
kills man.
Right, hey, look up...
And then monster has to get a job.
What?
Was that line
Jurassic Park? Look up the Black Star with monster.
What does it mean?
It means like anybody who's gone through the birthing process.